Hi, it's Jeffrey Archer. I'm hoping you'll subscribe to Books on Toast and don't overdo it.
Hello everyone, this is the Books on Toast channel. We have Jeffrey Archer.
No, you don't have me. I'm your guest.
He's my guest.
Have you? Start using English properly. Get a grip. Where do you think you are? You're on television.
I'm not.
I am with Lord Jeffrey Archer.
I am with Lord Jeffrey
That's
Archer.
a better start. Why are you with Lord Jeffrey Archer?
I am with Lord Jeffrey Archer
Because?
because we are at the Jaipur Literature Festival and we have by some miracle managed to get some time for our channel from him. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
My name is Anuya.
I'm Sharon.
Welcome to India. This
Thank
is
you.
How many Indian immigration stamps do you have on your passport?
Oh, too many, yes. I think they think, yeah, I come in and out all the time. I love India. Everybody knows I love India.
When are you going to write a thriller based in India?
That's a silly question.
Why?
Yes, no, you've had a bad start really, didn't you?
Oh no.
You should not write about what you don't know about. You shouldn't. The great Indian novel has to be written by an Indian. And indeed, you have so many distinguished writers in this country that it would be foolish for an Englishman to even attempt. Yes, I'll have the odd Indian character, and yes, the odd Indian incident, but I wouldn't dare touch a novel.
Can you have one character named Anuya?
Do I have what, sorry?
Can you have one character
is
named
that you?
Anuya? Yes.
No, I won't. Wait a moment. Do you want to be an escaped convict?
Sure.
Yeah, you're in.
I'd love to be an escaped convict.
That's a great start. Okay, what we wanted to really ask you also was that every time you visit the country, you go to a lot of schools and colleges.
Yes.
And you mobilize our youth in a way that most of our current leaders and authors can't. So you know more about the young people of India than most of us do. What do you think makes them interesting, boring, and do you think we have a future?
Do you think we have hope?
I think the next generation is better educated than any generation India has ever produced. And I think the next generation of women are going to control this country.
Woohoo!
I have a great faith in India in the future.
Wow, that's
there
amazing.
are many, many more people taking degrees and getting properly educated. And this can only be a good thing for India.
Yeah, that's true. That's amazing. Are there any recurrent questions they tend to ask you? How do they inspire you? I'm sure you inspire millions.
It's very kind of you to say so. I love kids. They do inspire you because they show you where you're going. I had a 12-year-old in Chennai who told me she was going to write better books than me, and she was going to beat me on the bestsellers list. So I kept an eye on her. She's about 16 now, and she still believes she's going to beat me at everything. I love her. I think she's absolutely wonderful. And so I said to her at one point, you're going to have a bit of a problem later. And she said, what's the problem, Jeffrey? It's really very simple. You'll meet men, and that will cause problems. Men, she said. What a complete waste of time. I won't be bothering with them.
She's got her priorities right.
That's good.
She's got a future, that one.
That's amazing.
So I have to share my my Jeffrey Archer story with you.
Here we go, your Jeffrey Archer story.
Everybody has one, as we know. And so my story is that I learnt about sex because of Kane and Abel.
I thought you were going to personate me. Because of Kane and Abel.
Because of Kane
And what
and
did you
Abel.
learn about sex from Kane and Abel?
How it was happening.
Because it's hardly
How
what
it
I would
was
call
done.
a sexy book.
No, but I was young and
Kanika,
impressionable.
throw them out.
And that is the story I have told on previous episodes of
Yeah.
this podcast, because I was like, books have taught me
Everything.
everything.
And I taught you about sex.
Yes. So my mother wants to have a word with you. No.
She'll be very cross with me.
So what do you have to say? Has anyone ever said that to you?
Well, I get a lot of young people in India say that Cain and Abel inspired them to want to achieve. That they believed, because these were two men who really wanted to get to the very top of their own world, that is what they would like to do. And I'm very touched by that, the amount of people who tell me that. You are the first person ever to say that I introduce you to sex.
Abel and Zephyr in the boat.
You got a problem, lady.
That's it.
You knew that already.
Now he's never going to forget us. So
Okay, so we wanted to also talk to you about your reading habits. I mean, you were the
My
gateway-
eating habits.
Reading.
habits. You were our gateway drug, really. Like in our teenage years, like I think we enjoyed reading. It was like a guilty pleasure to read like a Jeffrey Archer while in school, you know, being young and impressionable.
We weren't allowed to.
We
but
weren't
we-
allowed to.
Yeah,
No wonder
yeah.
I'm a success.
So Twist in the Tail and Quiver Full of Arrows were just so like rabid and passionate, and it really opened up our minds. So we were wondering, what were your reading habits when you were a teenager?
When I was your age.
Yeah.
Well, I got to Dickens quite early and Lewis Carroll quite early. And then I went on to Ian Fleming, so I read all the Bond books. And then I got more and more serious. And now, in old age, I still love a very good story, well told and well written. If you get that combination of writer-storyteller. So those were the people who influenced me in my youth. And my mother was very keen on reading and a writer herself. And so she introduced me to it at a very young age. And most of my presents from her were books.
Oh, lovely. That's amazing.
So,
Goodbye.
speaking of teenagers, I used to read a lot of Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys, and then I picked up A Matter of Honor, and that was my first grown-up book per se, and it blew my mind, because for me it was like books can be like this, for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think one of my most
So wait a
shocking.
minute, I blew your mind.
Yes.
I sorted out your sex life.
Absolutely. I owe you a lot. I owe you a lot.
This is getting more and more embarrassing.
And the thing that really stayed with me was his girlfriend's death. Heidi, her name was,
Yes.
right? Yeah. And then, of course, this is a spoiler alert, but you killed off after that struggle that those two kids went through to be together. So what I really want to know from you is, do storytellers, not writers, storytellers, get particular joy from killing off characters that they know the audiences have fallen in love with?
No, but they do realize that in real life, it isn't one long, smooth, happy family. So when I kill someone off, particularly in the first of the Clifton Chronicles, in Only Time Will Tell, killed off old Jack, I had more letters about that than I've ever had, except the amount of people who wrote to me and told me to kill off the wicked Lady Virginia.
Yeah.
They said, get rid of Jeffrey, how long are you going to get rid of her? She's a disgrace. And I realized from that I had to keep her.
So you don't listen to fans?
Oh,
when they...
very carefully indeed. If they tell you something serious, and they write lots of them write serious letters. And they're very, I mean, I put out a photograph quite recently with my grandson.
Okay.
I was reading to him. He's 3 years old, and I was reading to him. And the fans were pouring the letters in saying, what are you doing reading? Get off the sofa, start writing, we're waiting for the next one. They gave me hell. I don't, wait a moment, I'm just reading to my grandson. No, it's Christmas Day. No, get up, work.
Okay, so here's a bit of a silly question.
And the others weren't.
Yeah, though they want it all. Okay, so this is a bit of a hypothetical question. So James Patterson recently co-authored a novel with Bill Clinton called The President is Coming.
Yes, I know.
Missing.
And it sold very well.
Yes. Did you read it?
No.
Okay. If you were, say, to collaborate with a former British Prime Minister, would you do it? And if so, what would that be
Former
called?
British Prime Minister, Winston Churchill, for example.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. We do a war book together.
Oh yeah, a war thriller of
Yeah.
espionage and murder.
No, is the answer. I write my books. They are for my readers, and I don't need help from former prime ministers or presidents.
Slow clap.
Nah.
Right there.
So what are you reading right now?
I've been reading the Tattooist of Auschwitz, which is an amazing book.
Wow.
Currently #1 in the bestsellers list
Yeah.
in
Yes.
England. And I found it quite fascinating. Written by a young lady from New Zealand called Helen Morris, who's never written a book before. So a heck of a challenge. And it's such a good story. She has a wonderful triumph, but how she follows it up, I do not know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you constantly discover new authors? Are you
All
constantly
the time.
reading?
All
Yeah?
the time. I'm not a layabout like you. Yes, all the time.
And no one has called me a layabout before.
Oh, you want to be called a layabout? Oh, hello.
I can't be an escaped convict and a layabout.
Okay, let's talk about Heads You Win. It's your first book in a decade after the Clifton Chronicles ended. Are you happy with the reception it's received?
The critics have been amazing, saying it's as good as Kane and Abel, some
Yeah.
saying it's better. And it's for really the real people to decide that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Satisfied in that sense, yes.
All right.
We're going to play a game with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to
Is
be...
it promise?
Yes.
What is the game? I'm frightened already.
It's a would you rather question.
It's just one question. It's
One
would you
question.
rather.
Would you rather?
Okay, would you rather be...
Out of you two? I mean, walked into that one, didn't you?
So would you rather be tortured by Russians or read only Donald Trump tweets for the rest of your life?
Oh my God. Close to the run thing. But I'm such a coward, I'll take the tweets.
Okay, if you were to write an ingenious death for any of these fictional characters,
An ingenious death.
Yes.
for any of these fictional
We'll give
characters,
you the
we'll give you the characters.
Oh.
Okay, so let's figure out how they will die.
Okay.
How they will die with Jeffrey Archer.
How
We'll
they
come
will
up with
die.
a cool graphic.
Yeah.
Okay, the first one, Harry Potter.
Oh, these are impossible, aren't they? He'd be eaten by a goblin.
Jed Bartlett from The West Wing.
Well, I would like him to be president at the moment.
But he'll die someday.
No, I'd like him to be president at the moment. He should die after he's been president, and he should die a peaceful, gentle death, reading my books.
Okay, Mr. Jeeves.
Jeeves as in Jeeves.
Yes.
Fall down the stairs carrying a tray of food.
That would
That
be a
is
poetic
ingenious.
death.
That
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who would get in a telephone box and be clonked on the head by someone with a telephone box. With his slink into the air. Oh, gee, what is this? Yes, I'm fed up with this. Move on.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I think we'll just ask you our last question.
Yes,
Yes.
I can't wait to get rid of you.
And this is the heaviest question.
Ah!
So, what are the 3 greatest lessons life has taught you?
I've been very, very privileged and lucky. And actually trips to India make me more aware of it when I see the poverty and wonder how much real talent there is out there that's not being properly used. That's one of the big lessons. Second, that I'm privileged to have lived so long. Many of my friends had cancer or Alzheimer's or something's gone wrong. And I get up each day and think how lucky, how very privileged I am. Emphasized today when I stood on that stage and thought, there's no other author on earth. What a lucky human being I am. No other author on earth can draw 3,000 people to a town in India. And I have learnt that women are superior to men.
That is lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolute privilege and an honor.
No,
And a
thank
pleasure.
you.
This time
Thank
with
you
To
very
be,
much.
yes, I really enjoyed being reprimanded by Jeffrey Archer, Lord Jeffrey Archer, who is our guest here today. Everybody, please share this video, subscribe to our channel, and also leave your comments in the comment section. Tell us why you love us, and also tell us why you sometimes have issues with us. We will listen to everything.
Yes. Thank you. Bye bye.